What's going on, guys? Welcome to Alignment First, where we serve the executive athlete with integrity, courage, and ownership. And I've got the honor and the pleasure to sit down with Dr. Amber Enright, the therapy doctor. Fun fact, got your doctorate at 25
I
from
did.
NAU and
I did.
have subsequently built amassed an incredible community here in Scottsdale with Scottsdale Top Docs and the Scottsdale Living Business Edition, both of which are how you and I encountered each other. And beyond your practice and your specialty in neurology and oncology in the physical therapy world, it's really interesting for somebody who is as accomplished and immersed in your practice as you are to have the room to hold space and build such a massive social network. So I guess, first of all, thanks for making the time and the space to have this conversation. Totally grateful. I know we've been trying to get this on the books for a little while. And I'm curious because it's so genuine in you. And for somebody that I feel like you're playing on both sides of the fence in terms of like, you have this specialization that seems like very introvert in nature, and your expression is so extrovert. So walk me through it. How do we get here?
Yeah. I come from a massive family where when I was younger, like if you didn't speak up, you weren't going to be heard. And I had a lot of brothers and sisters who were absolutely completely entertaining, funny, smart. And I was honestly a wallflower. I didn't really have a personality. When I went to college, I started to bloom into my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
My dog's just sitting over here doing a whole show.
I love it.
On the floor, like an entire production. And I needed to develop a personality. Mm-hmm. I think that, okay, should I
she's good.
fix this thing?
She's good. Ask flavor to it.
Yeah, so I didn't even know what I was going to become. I knew that humor could play a role in really what I wanted to do, which was impact people. And I didn't know where that was going to take me. I also knew that I cried a lot as a child. Like I cried all the time about anything. The world felt really unfair. And I didn't want other people to experience that. I knew I needed to be able to positively impact their lives. And I also, when I was really young, grew up with absolutely nothing, like nothing. There were times where there was no food, no water, no nothing in the fridge, no toys, no extra clothes, like nothing. And I think that I knew that I wanted to find education because it was told to me that that was the way that you make something of yourself. And so I carried this thing. And I also have a younger sister. She's 13 months younger than me. And we were like bonded. And at one point we were separated. And I always knew that one of my jobs as a sister was to be able to take care of my younger sister and, the people around me. Yeah. The other parts that I learned growing up were that being a family meant taking care of each other, no matter what happens, no matter if the world gets ugly or, is super unfair. And then also that, of course, the world is not fair. It's not fair. It's not here to like cater to your needs. And you have to make something of nothing if you only have nothing. And so I'm really grateful, to say, oh, wow, I graduated at 25. Like I did the work. I honestly really feel like most people could do the thing that I did. Yeah. If they put their head down and they did it and they wanted to do it, I think they could do it. If they felt like they had no other way and if they were on fire, I think they definitely could do it. Sure. And so I don't find myself to be overly accomplished in any area. I definitely feel like I'm self-made, but I had so many people that really guided me to become a stronger version of myself that I couldn't be more grateful for. Even things that went poorly were really good lessons, lessons. So in my business, that's something that I really want to give people is these opportunities to become a version of themselves, no matter what they are facing, what they're facing. Literally, I treat brain cancer, dementia, and Parkinson's disease primarily. And if somebody told you had brain cancer today, you would probably really think, oh my gosh, what have I done with my life? Most people tell me that that's something that they're thinking of. And now they have a timeline that they need to accomplish these things in. And really it comes down to like, where is my family? Where is my relationship with the people around me?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I care about? What needs to be preserved? And how long can I do this? How long can I do it? Not what's the death date, but like how long am I going to be functional to make sure this happens?
Sure.
Those are big things, and I get to see them every day.
Yeah. I want to pull on this fairness thread for a little bit. Because in your, for the childhood and upbringing that you just described, and this early awareness that the world is unfair, to then opt into a physical therapy practice that specializes in dementia and cancer, which are the unfairest, the least fair of, the specializations in your field. Like, based on what you just described, that's the last thing I think I would think you would opt into, is exposure to less fairness.
Well, I think that when I started my career, I really thought I was going to go a much easier route for me. I really always thought that children, like the innocence of children, was so easy. It's easy to navigate. Like, you can help a child stop crying and comfort them and show them that they can do something so easily. And then I just knew, like, I have a thing with children. Like, my family was in foster care. I'm actually adopted. I was adopted at age 10. All the kids that came in were younger than the youngest child that was in the house already. My name Enright came from my family, the Enrights. And so they had this rule. And so we were always taking care of younger kids. It was so natural to be able to do that. I was actually really afraid of like the geriatric population. It's not that uncommon for kids to be scared of like adults or scared of old people or people with impairment. And it sucks to say that, like, that's how I saw the world. It was like just a scary place. And when I joined the workforce as a physical therapist, I worked in my hometown of Sierra Vista, and I knew I wanted to do pediatrics, but there was already a pediatric therapist. And we had patients come from Mexico, from Tucson. Like, people drove 50 miles to see our clinic. And not because we were so excellent. It's because they weren't getting service elsewhere. Let me start there.
You deal with a lot of vets down there?
Oh, yes. We have a military base attached to our town. And so Fort Huachuca and Sierra Vista are essentially married. It's a retirement town from the base, but also there's an active community of military there. Absolutely. My parents are both Army. My dad's retired Army. He's still contracted civilian on post. Like, my whole family's military. I couldn't be more proud of that.
Yeah.
And also, thanks for your service, Michael.
I appreciate it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So high regard for community, high regard for doing the right thing, high regard for patriotism. These things were ingrained in me in my later youth, being in the Enright household. And then this real sense of duty. My mom really wanted to give back to the community by helping local children have a home. Like, how lucky am I? Myself and my little sister actually ended up being reunited from different states and were adopted into the same family. We were estranged from each other's by state lines and adopted by the Enrights.
Wow.
They're saints. I never would have graduated high school. I never would have gone to college if Pam and Kevin Enright had not said, "You're going to go to school. You can work hard. Did you try your best? What do you want to be? Okay, well, what are you going to do to get there?"
Yeah.
And there was no need for me not to be capable. My mom instilled this sense that, like, I really could do it even as a woman in a time when I still don't think that there was not really that much aptitude. Women were climbing. Women really now can definitely be anything that they want to. But when my mom was a mom, it was still like very much where you could only be one thing. Women can really be anything. There are several, in any industry, female CEOs that are absolutely crushing it.
Yeah.
And there were only 12 male PTs in my whole class.
Really?
12. Only one of them, by the time that I started my business, had created their own practice similar to mine, and he'd been trying to recruit me for 5 years. I took massive note of the men in the class that felt like they were going to open their own practice even in school. Like I had a sense, I had a direction, and the world wasn't going to tell me no. It just wasn't going to happen.
So how did you break out of the system, so quote unquote? One of my coaches prior to sunsetting the gym is at AT still. She's finishing the program as we speak. And a lot of the conversation that I had in terms of the way she wanted to engage with her clients, and I smash me on this logic if it doesn't actually apply. But the way she wanted to engage with her clients, and you're talking to a guy who just had his knee replaced. I've had 2 ACL reconstructions. So like my experience of PTs is, first of all, naval medicine. And, we're going to, we just need to get you to up and off the toilet pain-free. And that's going to be the win. Right. And, she doesn't want to do that. She wants to have really deep impact and get people back to beyond function in her practice. And I was like, I've not had that experience in PT. I'm not so sure that exists outside of the realm of athletes, which she didn't seem too keen on serving either. So I'm curious, then you layer on entrepreneurship on top of that and having to figure out the system for yourself. What was that journey like for you?
Rough. It was rough because a lot of people don't realize that entrepreneurship is like, they say drinking water out of a fire hose, and you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. And there's infinite I don't knows. And I think that something that has been a strength of mine is saying, I don't know. And then going and finding out all the time. I don't know. Let me go. Yeah.
That is the realest description of
it's so true. And I'm like, do you really like working hard, or do you just not like working for someone else? Because if you don't like working hard, owning a business is just not for you. The end.
I don't know. Holy shit. That's fantastic. I love it.
And you've been to the business group. You've been to the business group. One of the reasons we started the business group wasn't like, oh, hey, you know what? We should just all get together and make a club of business owners. It was because COVID struck and nobody had business, and we literally needed to figure it out together. The community did, because Walmart couldn't be the only game in town.
Right.
It's wild to think of how many businesses suffered because of closures, when really people could still order something and have it delivered to their home. And honestly, if you want to talk about what could be open and not, we could have a different conversation. There are more solutions than problems, but we weren't thinking that way at the time. And so, we got together. And then really what we needed were solutions. And half of it was new business strategies. So we got amazing people to come and speak to our group. We have, SCORE business mentors from the Small Business Administration come and talk about profit and revenue and how to cut margins for your business without cutting quality. Quality is super important to me. It always has been. I want things done the right way.
Yeah.
Why? Because you can do 50 clamshell exercises, but if you can't turn on your feet, what the heck am I using these butt cheeks for? I needed to turn into function. I needed to turn into profit. I needed to turn into something. So what's the outcome? And maybe we can work backward. And I just want to be around people who have solutions. Crying about it isn't getting me anywhere. It's not going to get me anywhere. So my business went down to 10% for 2 months. And I was like, nope. This is not happening to me. What am I going to do? And I thought, I'm going to go work in the hospital. But my current patient list was immunosuppressed. Right. They literally are going to get sick if I bring germs home to them, and I'm the only provider that's coming to their house. Okay. When I say my business went down to 10%, it opened right back up because I got one of my patients who pays, privately for care, had their doctor get me one of the very first COVID tests. And every single time that happened, where my patients turned around and took good care of me because they felt like my care was so worth it for them to come, for me to come to their house. Like there's no other way around it. If you provide what it is that's supposed to be provided, then the people will take care of you. Your business will take care of you, and you can do the right thing, and you don't have to cut the corners. And yeah, you do still have to be an entrepreneur. And that's not just like, hi, I own a business. It means that you have to be able to turn out a profit at the end of the year. The difference is sometimes when we don't, we've reinvested. But the bottom line is I still have to pay for the roof over my head and pay for my family and get things done.
Yep.
And if you're not, you might as well work for the man. And that's not a problem. Like you also get to turn your brain off when you get home when you do that. And you don't have to worry about answering the phone, and you don't have to worry about 10 different things when you're falling asleep and you don't wake up. Maybe sometimes with real excitement, like, oh my gosh, I have a new client. I'm going to close this so hard today. I cannot wait. I've done the research on this and this and this. When you don't have excitement to go to work and your life feels blasé-faire, if you think owning a business is going to be the solution, but you don't like to work hard, it's just not going to be the thing. So I do find inspiration for helping people. It has always worked for me that I feel better in my life when I can help someone else. So all these kids that came into our house, they needed real help. They needed help with anything, just someone to say yes to helping them with their homework. They needed somebody to sit down and read with them. My parents were like massive advocates of sitting down to read, of taking 30 minutes to practice an instrument, of keeping yourself busy. And I love entrepreneurship for those reasons. Like it's not like I don't have a Netflix binge day, but like I actually really enjoy the workload. I really enjoy connecting with people. And my business is definitely connecting with people on an interpersonal level. I get to know their family. I know their dog's name. I've taken people to doctor's appointments. I just took a patient to Idaho to go to a wedding. He'd been in the hospital since November. And this was a huge deal, like to meet with his whole family, who I've actually met almost all of them in Arizona here. I've already met them. And then to be able to travel with him. And also it helped direct my next month of care because I got to see what his impairments were. Like really side by side, see his impairments, because I'm there for a 90-minute session. And he works so hard. He works so hard that he is massive. Like he was told he was never going to walk again. This guy actually today walked without a device for 200 feet. He's walking into his, he goes to see Connie Mariano, and he's going to walk in her office today with no assistive device for the first time. And she's just, her eyes are going to bug right out of her head. I can't wait.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot wait to get a call from her tonight.
Yeah.
It's rad, but he does the work.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know how it's been for you, but like those are the moments that really, in my experience, keep you in the game. It's like, holy shit. Like, yes, I am for sure having an impact on this person. And I'll never forget, I've had a client since I got out of the Marines, and I'm actually having coffee with him tomorrow. And right after I left corporate to open Next Level brick and mortar, we kind of parted ways. And about a year later, I bumped into his wife on one of my wife and I's first dates. And I was like, oh, how you guys doing? How's everything going in your world? She's like, oh, you haven't heard. He got cancer. He's sick.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, fuck. Well, you got my number. If you need anything, say the word. A couple of months go by and I get a phone call. It's like, hey, he needs you. It's like, okay, well, here's the address. Have him come on down. When we worked together, when I was at the Village, he was like 175 pounds. He came back to me at 129, just frail. I was like, dude, what's the goal? And he's like, I want my pull-ups back. And I think this is really the difference between people like you and I as practitioners, right? Because there's all kinds of literature and shit that says like what I'm about to tell you, like, don't fucking do that. And I was like, dude, there's a pull-up bar. Let's see what you got, And it was like the ugliest, like struggle bus attempt at a pull-up I had ever seen. And I was like, cool, man. Now we know where we're starting. And I don't know, it might have been 2-3 months later. He went from like half, we can call it 1, to 10, and next thing you know, he's like sitting around watching, after our session, he's sticking around and watching CrossFit classes. He's like, hey, when can I start playing with the big kids? I was like, dude, you've been ready, man. I was just waiting for you to say so. So we downshifted away from one-on-ones, got him into classes. He was rocking and rolling all the way until we let the gym go. And fast forward, I get invited to his daughter's wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And at the reception, she pulls me aside and she whispers in my ear. She says, thank you for keeping my dad around for today. And I was like,
that's the whole moment.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
everything's worth it right then. Everything's worth it. They could have the worst day. You could have gone through, I have no doubt, because I've been there, that you heard unimaginable stories about the things that people don't want to think about that can come with end of life, or they can come with disease. And some honestly can come with just a car accident. Like, people have accidents. Like, I'm in public. I have an emergency. I use the bathroom. I had a blowout. What now?
Right.
And you're like, our job is to be human. Our job is to be human. And like, literally, if you can't understand what kind of discomfort someone's in, to help them in that moment where embarrassment does not trump. It doesn't even touch.
No.
We don't live there. And why would I want to put that on someone else? You have to be human first. You have to be human in business. You need to be accountable. You need to have some form of integrity that says, if this were me, how would I want someone to respond to me? And just sit with them sometimes. Just sit and listen and be a human.
Yeah.
Be a human. Yeah. It's so wild. I feel like we live in an incredibly selfish world, and people really don't understand the impact of selfishness. And I am so lucky that I am in a profession that I get to feel amazing. I could be having the worst day and I go to work and I get to impact someone who maybe can't move their own body. And like, my job is to go in and make their day better. Does that happen every single time? No, but actually that's great feedback that I do get from my patients regularly. Like, they are looking forward to that actual time that we spend together. Their family reports that every single time I'm making something happen. I'm not, they are. But you have to inject what you want the outcome to be. So like, if I'm having a bad day and I think that that's going to impact my patient, I need to immediately turn my car off and put a better attitude on, because I might be the only outside person that they interact with that week. Why would I dump on them?
Right.
Like,
so here's a question, because you and I both know there's plenty of people that come into these service forward professions with like below minimal emotional intelligence. It's like, why would you choose this field? Right. And my question is, and the other side of that coin is, I'm going to serve so many fucking people because I don't want to deal with my own shit.
I mean, I have those days too. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm like, man, it's so much better to go to work and help this person feel good about myself than think about what I have to deal with. But I love it. It feels so rewarding. So yeah, I get it. But
so
you can't dump
totally.
on people.
My question is, so you don't inherently dump on people either because of emotional overload or lack of emotional intelligence. How much work is Amber doing on Amber to make sure that your cup is full enough to be present and fully engaged with your clients in a positive manner?
I would love to tell you that I spend adamant like hours, just in focus on this. I do. I went to a hypnotherapy session on Sunday and I was in there for 2.5 hours with my friend Kira. I mean, Kira's
the best.
I love Kira.
Oh my God. Yes.
Like, she has been working with me for 2 years, and I could tell you that some days when I feel like the world feels so heavy and it's dark, I can leave her office feeling like I'm on top of a mountain. And I couldn't tell you that I feel completely tapped into any problem at all. Like I don't need these problems. I am untouchable up here. I'm above the clouds. I'm above the clouds. But the practice of it is not just going to it. It's reminding myself that I own that energy, that I can recreate it on my own. And she's wonderful at doing that. I want my patients to feel like that. I don't want them to be completely dependent on me. For a time, they might be. You know, the first time that you stand up, if you are that guy that lost 50 pounds in the hospital, which is something I deal with very regularly, you don't have muscle mass. In fact, your joints don't even move in those positions to allow you to stand up. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. And I'm having to coax a patient that has just gone through something life altering, like paralysis, that they may never regain the full function in the way that they remember their body to function, to operate. And my goal is not to sell them like, you know what, we're going to have you up and walking in 6 months. My goal is to function and help them understand the reality that they live in right now is currently assisted and what they can do to help change their reality. And I can't tell you that I don't sit and sometimes cry when I leave a patient because I had to put them through some level of discomfort. And it's always explained. It's always with grace. It's always with understanding that my job is to sit with them. It is to hold space for what they can and cannot do, and to help teach people around them how to help them feel accomplished. And this is such a weird thing, but like, for example, I have a massive ego about helping people with advocacy. And this is really important.
Like self-advocacy.
Yes. And then also the advocacy of a family member. So I deal with a lot of like really wealthy people. And sometimes like with dementia, for example, there are confusing points. And when is it appropriate, or when is it appropriate for someone else to provide their care for them versus they're saying, no, that's not what I want. And they seem very clear and they're able to recite what it is. Like, I think people have a really terrible misnomer about what dementia looks like, what it is, how we hold it, how you interact with it. And the thing is, a lot of these diagnoses that are neurodegenerative, they fluctuate. They fluctuate by the hour, they fluctuate by the day. But, you know, they have in TVs, like, you know, people just like hitting people or, you know, screaming about, you know, being 12 years old and where's my mom? And it doesn't really all look like that.
Yeah. Let's pause right there for a second. I'm genuinely curious. You know, my grandmother had that really slow cognitive decline on her way out. And I never got a chance to spend any time with her in that period. So I'm curious, like what is the spectrum that you're referring to? Because we all know like the crazy dark end of the spectrum, but what is it in your day-to-day experience? Like, what are the shapes and forms that dementia looks like?
I love this question. So I have patients who are middle-aged, like a decade and a half older than me, with fully functional families and full-time jobs that start noticing symptoms that they're concerned about. And if you are a very intelligent person, sometimes these signs and symptoms are coming about and you notice them because you are an incredibly high performer. And all of a sudden, these really high performing skills where you can do a multitude of tasks at once, maybe some of the first signs. I have a patient that said that he was constantly forgetting suits in hotels. Like, he traveled all the time. He like did massive consulting with global companies. And, you know, he had a very, very minor physical impairment. And luckily, he's really intelligent. So he didn't go, oh, well, I shouldn't get this checked out. He's like, I probably need to get this checked out. And he
Yeah.
has one of the second most common forms of dementia, which is Lewy body dementia. And
Okay.
nobody's heard of it. Like everybody
Right.
thinks that dementia is Alzheimer's. That's a misnomer. It's not
Okay.
true. There's tons of forms of dementia.
Okay.
There are some that you can really, really do a lot to help the patient and help the patient
Mm-hmm.
help themselves for a really long time. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's also this variation of patient to patient progress that's individual to them, no matter their diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So my age range of people with dementia can be 50s to 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's cognitive impairment, which actually can also happen during chronic illness, like if you were hospitalized and on a bunch of medications, or even
Right.
just think about yourself being really, really sick. If you've ever been really, really sick
Mm-hmm.
and you're like trying to look at your calendar and make, notes on emails, and it's just like, it's not making any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a little cognitive impairment. So you can think of this spectrum as going all the way till my brain is mush and I can't think for myself and I can't process. And to make the dinner that my family loves is impossible because I couldn't piece it together.
Right.
Like and then there's the far end of what I have seen in home, which I
Mm-hmm.
love to treat people in home. I love when someone who has high confusion is able to stay in their own environment. And that takes a lot of support, not just family, but like it really takes financial support. It takes a lot of understanding. It takes insane amounts of compassion. Think about the person that you love the most.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden think that you've told them something 50 times today and they're just asking you again and again.
So
And all of a sudden your frustration's up. You
sure.
want to say that you'd be so soft with them.
No. Yeah. There's two parts to that as I'm listening to you describe it. It sounds like the familiarity of the environment does a ton for the patient.
I like it a lot. When my patients can feel like they understand their environment and it's familiar to them. So like if I had a patient that's like, I'm going to stay in place as I age, and we have the resources to do that, and my family has agreed to this, they'll still put some contingencies on it. So there are people who get confused and then they get sick and they become agitated or combative, meaning like they become sometimes paranoid. They can have hallucinations. Sometimes they don't have hallucinations, but they'll have these visualizations of things that they think are going on. They really exist to them. They're not really there. You can't see them, but they're very real to them. Some of them are scary. Some of them are not. I had a guy that just like had ants on the table all the time. And he's just sitting here wiping them off, and there's like little people in the corner. I'm like, well, are they scary? He's like, no. Then I had a lady has this massive house, and in the holiday season, she had all these Santas. So, they would put the Santas up. And at some point, there was one that just became really scary to her. And I was walking her down the hall and she loved all these ones, but there was one that every single time it freaked her out. What did I do? I put it in a cupboard. It's like, I don't want to interact with it either. Right. And she didn't like messes. So I'm like, hey, listen, you're the boss. We're going to get this cleaned up.
Yeah.
We're going to clean it up.
So I'm also hearing that, like, if this is me and I'm starting to experience dementia, like, it doesn't sound like these people lose, like, the house never becomes new. You know what I mean? Like, they don't forget where the living room is or where the dishes go. But like, so how does that remain a fixture? But like the people part, like, we forget names or we regress, and you hear those stories of like, no, mom, I'm not 12 anymore. Why does that dynamic shift in people interaction, but the environment doesn't seem to have that kind of shift?
So first, it does depend on the kind of dementia. There are forms of dementia that preserve long-term memory versus short-term memory. Okay. So you and I just met in the last 2 years. If I had a certain kind of dementia, I may forget you. Sorry, Michael. I don't want to, but I may. And then my long-term memories may be preserved. Again, that goes more along this Alzheimer's one form of dementia, right? There are other forms where my long-term memory, like Lewy body dementia, are more preserved
Okay.
And I might be able to describe in detail some of my more recent events, but it's not the same as Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
When we have one caveat and we're really just trying to put people into a box, I think that's actually when we get in the most trouble. So like when I walk into a house, I have a plan of what I want to do with a patient.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I walk to the door and I see the patient, sometimes I can see like that they just are not operating on the system that I want them to operate on. Yeah. Or I'll start a conversation and it's like, well, and their words are a jumbled mess on that particular day. And then I put them through a rigorous, like say cardio. Say today we're working on core and cardio, and we put them through this routine, and all of a sudden they're just doing. And the things they're worried about, the things they're communicating, they're flying out of their mouth. Sometimes our body can affect our brain and our brain can affect our body. Sometimes the doing of it makes my brain feel enriched and positive, and maybe that has the impact. My job is not to determine the cause. It's to help them make sure that they can function and then also preserve the things that they want to be able to do. So like your example, your client said, thank you so much. Your client's daughter says, thank you so much for helping him get to this day. You know what I mean? Like if we ask, what do you want to be able to do? And the average patient for a PT is like, well, I want to be able to go back to work. Okay, like to do what? Well, I lift boxes for UPS. Okay, well, that's a task. I can create a goal around that. But like if you want to be able to make sure you can walk your daughter down the aisle. Yeah. And we currently can't stand up at the edge of the bed. What do I have to be able to do? And am I going to be leaning on her, or is she going to be leaning on me? Or like, are we going to be able to link arms? Am I going to be able to walk at her pace? Like these are really big things. I want to be able to make sure that you're able to stand up and you're not pulling on her and we're not stepping on the dress. Like we need to know the details. We need to be able to practice. What if I need to be able to take a step back and turn without somebody holding on to me? Like I want to be able to dance during the dad-daughter dance. Yeah. You know, these things turn into really big things. And if you can find the thing that in humanity that allows you to connect with them, like, man, this would be the vision for it. And you're like really picturing it. I always ask my patients, even within a session, if we were able to accomplish something, to close their eyes and fall asleep thinking about doing it to the best of their ability. Like if we were standing for the first time and I pull your hips forward and I lock your knees and you're standing up and it feels like a lot of discomfort and it feels like you aren't really sure if you're even doing it. And you just feel pressure through your joints and maybe your nerves are kind of on fire because you haven't stood on your feet and they're swollen. And then all of a sudden you're completely fatigued out. We sit you on the bed and I'm like, well, we're going to do it again. And we're going to do it better this time. And then we think about it. And then tomorrow I'm going to be back and I want you to think about what you did. How did you activate? Did you have to squeeze your butt really hard? You know, did you have to push your knees back? What did it feel like for your feet? I said, and you're just going to concentrate on it so hard that tomorrow when we do it, it's going to go better. Like it will go better. It will go better. Your brain actually creates neural pathways, even through mental imagery. Right. It's beautiful. Change is necessary. Challenge drives change in the brain. And we can do it through our body or we can do it through our brain. Both are avid. Okay.
So neuroplasticity, right?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, 100%. Is that something that they teach or endorse in the professional development of PT, or is that something that
it's all over our programs?
Okay.
It's all over our programs. Like NAU actually had a really great neuro-based program. We got to do a really good intensive where we had a whole bunch of neuro patients that came in, like in school. And your job was to problem solve, be as creative as you possibly can was basically the solution. And if I can brag a little on that program, they did teach creativity. It was not a recipe card. Yeah, you had tests that like you had to hit on these things, but I really felt encouraged to be creative. And I also felt encouraged by my career choices from going from children to adults in my first career path, where I'm like trying to get a kid to climb up something so we can work on core strength. Right. And they don't care about what I'm asking them to do. They care about that goldfish that I put up there. Right. It's motivation. And so I took that into my adult care because that's what I was kind of getting into. And the only reason I ended up in neuro is because no therapist wanted to serve that population where I was at.
Really?
Nobody. And honestly, it was difficult because like adults think I can't. Well, why do they think they can't?
They've been told
because they know what they could do, and it's hard to do it now, and nobody wants to work that hard. Again, if you don't want to work hard, you and I are probably going to have some kind of friction. I can't do it for you. I can help you. I can definitely help you. And even in the business group, like that's a huge thing for me. I am not trying to be some kind of hero that helps everybody with their businesses. And I also have questions. I wanted to answer my own questions. I ask people, what do you want to learn about? And I have those same, problems, but I just want to find a solution. I don't even want to discuss the problem in depth. Like if you could just give me the highlight, like my knee hurts when I stand. Not like, well, I had 30 minutes of pain at 4:30. Okay, well, is that a pattern? We need to know the pattern. But otherwise, like, we're here to solve this problem. Let's do it together in your business. Like, well, I don't have any clients. Okay, well, does your service suck? Or do we need to like come in and revamp some things about how you're able to retain? How are you retaining? Like my patients do stay with me through end of life. And part of that is because of how I designed my business. I literally do not want to sit here and tell people to do 30, long arc quads 5 times a day for 13 patients in a row. That is not my cup of tea. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound fun. And I did that in the beginning, and it was it was like it's sucking the life straight out of my body.
100%. Yeah.
Every one of my patients is completely different. So to have to think about like using a recipe card for any of them doesn't work. I'm also really happy to help them find other resources when they need it. So like if I have a patient that hasn't been able to leave their home in 6 months and we finally learned card transfers, I can get them other services. I can get them PT, OT, and speech in concentrated effort that's covered by their insurance. And that's not a minus for me. And they always call me back because guess what? Your insurance has to discharge you.
Right.
Your insurance has to discharge you. So when they want to do things that matter to them, like, okay, well, now I want to be able to get down on the floor because my daughter just had a grandchild. And like, if I can't be on the floor, I basically can't really play with her.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a big one. I want to be able to be alone at my house because my husband's going to, play cards with the boys every Tuesday and he's afraid I'm going to fall. I'm like, well, I guess we need to learn 1, if you're safe to get up from the floor, and 2, if you did have a fall, not just the fall risk, because a lot of people have fall risk that they're not going to outgrow. They're not going to outmanage. They have fall risk. Then what do we do in that case? Well, I need to make sure you know how to stay safe, but also if you end up on the floor, do I call 911 or do you get up? And how do we do it? Can you do it all by yourself?
Yeah.
That's a big one. It's a huge one.
So you've achieved this level of success in your individual practice. What is, from your experience of Scottsdale living, where is the biggest hurdle that entrepreneurs struggle?
We live in Scottsdale, and I think in this area, people feel like they have to put an image of success up all the time. And there's a difference between success and driving a nice car. Like for me, purposefully, I have enough. I have everything that I need. Like I really do. Sometimes I have to remind myself of that. And it's really easy to do. Like I do not sit and surf Instagram. I don't sit and surf TikTok. And people are like, well, you're all over social media. I'm like, social media is a tool. It's a tool. And it's also just a glimpse into my life. I love my privacy. I love it. And so when you use something and try to believe that that's the ruler that we're supposed to live by, I cannot get on that ship. It is not going to sail me anywhere except envy and jealousy and all of these things that don't make me a human. They don't make me a human. I want to look at someone and say, do you want to participate and socialize and be independent and feel success in your day? How do you want to do it? And like some people, it's just being nice to people all day.
Yeah.
And some people, it's making a lot of money. And some people, it's getting in their nice car. Like for me, I have a great car that I drive around that gets me from point A to point B. And guess what? I actually bought it from like one of my patients' companies, right? And when I take my car in, they can always give me another car.
Right.
No matter what dealership I bought it from, because like they take care of me because I took care of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then I have everything I need in my home. I have a full fridge all the time. I could feed an army at this place. And that's really important to me.
Yeah.
I have a very active social life when I want to have an active social life. And I have energy for days that I can transport into any emotion that I would like it to be, including the joy I feel being able to provide for other people. And you know, that's a big thing for me. Not having anything growing up meant that I wanted to be able to feed people when they came to my house.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that if somebody didn't have something, I could give it. Like literally, people come to my house and I'm like, hey, do you want to try this on? Oh, that's yours. Like, I believe that living my life this way is self-rewarding because it makes me feel so good. And that's why I say I have the best job in America.
Well, I think that what you're nailing right now is business by design, not from an, you know, the MBA by the numbers perspective, but like this is what gives me joy and fulfillment. I'm going to build my business around that. And it's really interesting. I was having this conversation a couple of weeks ago with a trainer that I mentor, and they're like just fixated on having their name on a building and opening a gym. And to your point, like if you don't want to fucking work hard, like that sure as shit ain't the one. But I you know, like I'm asking all these questions and I'm like, we get to the root of it. And they're like, well, that's what everybody keeps asking me about. That's what everybody thinks success is supposed to look like. And I was like, but is that what it looks like to you? Case in point, when all those monsoons came through a couple of weeks ago, right? My wife and I sat on the front porch. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and we watched our kids play in the rain. Right?
Oh my gosh. There's nothing better in Arizona.
Well, and
this is like running out in the rain as a child in monsoon season.
Totally.
It's amazing. It's magical.
Well, and I shared with you, you know, because you've been around through this whole transition for me, right? I shared with you, like, I'm in the best place I've ever been as a husband and a father. And now that I know what that is for Michael, right? Having that brick and mortar training facility was getting in the way of that. Okay. So getting to this place where number one, like I'm back in a space of creation, which I absolutely love and fucking just amps me up. But at the same time, I'm sitting out there watching my kids play in the rain. And it's like, oh my God. Like, yes, I was really sad shutting down the gym. I truly believe and feel like a piece of me died in letting that go. And at the same time, I am so fucking happy. I not that I wasn't happy before. I'm so much happier now. You know what I mean?
Think about that. The reasons, like I am able to do a job where I can have no money and still go and do my work. I actually literally I started my business with $0. And I went to someone's house and I provided care for them and then I billed them. The end. I invested my time and these elbows and I did the work. And I applied some of this and I figured it out and I modeled some things that I'd seen and I took away some things I didn't like. And I said, can I operate this with basically no money? Yeah, I can. Could I teach other people that they could do that? Yeah, I can. And like, where can we get without spending so much money? I call it the $500 bleed. And it's literally, it's sick. Every single service for a small business costs you $500. $500. You want marketing done. It starts at $500. It goes to $5,000 a month. You want a tiny little space, $500 to $5,000. We're talking like, do I need it medical? Do I need it not medical? Do I need a sink in my office? Like, what do I need? A podcast. like thinking about these things where you're like, how do I do it myself? Do we still have capacity for do it myself? Like, are we as humanity losing our own skill set to like figure it out and spend time around an area that we want to develop and learning about it and doing the homework behind it and figuring it out like ourselves? Sometimes you have to take some things apart. You know, have you ever like disassembled something?
Oh yeah.
You're like, okay, like now I see how this was made. Okay. And if you keep it organized as you disassemble, it's really easy to put it back. If you're kind of smashing it apart and ripping it, it may never go back into piece, but like we can keep things organized. We can keep things clean. We have an image of what it should be. And it doesn't always come out that way. So like any closed door is 5 open doors. I think I mentioned that book, Predictably Irrational, to you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So stuck on like making no choice because we're worried that something better is going to come along. Like maybe nothing's coming along and you're just here to save yourself. And if nothing better is coming, are you still going to be happy with exactly your life the way that it is? Yes. But not if not if you're chasing the quarterback's dream.
Right.
You know, you're never going to recreate that. We're not recreating some emotional, social, financial high because you're never going to get it exactly the same that you had it before. And if you love that moment, you don't even want to create it again. You want to do something new and create a new thing. Like your rewards with fatherhood. Yeah. Like burn in a core memory. The first time somebody gets to go do something again after they're not sure they're ever going to be able to do something again is so incredibly rewarding. I'm just grateful that I get to be a piece of it. And who knew at 25 that I'd find so much reward in my work? Because my very first job didn't feel like this at all. I was like, what did I do? I hate this. Like my 13 patients today, like, I don't even know if I help them. Oh, like, crazy. I don't know if I help them. What?
Yeah. Yeah. I 13 patients. Holy shit. Yeah. I tell people about, once upon a time, I was ripping and running 12 to 14 sessions a day, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'd go out, I'd take a power nap, I'd be out to 2 o'clock in the morning and then do it all over again the next day. And like, that is just not an existence that first of all, like what you just described, what I just described, nobody's doing that today. How many people
it's hard to come by.
Yeah. And it's like, I tell people these things of like the early days of my career. And they're like, you did what?
Oh yeah.
13 seconds. Like, yeah, it's possible.
Grind.
Yeah.
You must grind.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not hard to be exceptional because we are riddled with mediocrity. And
this is, again, we live in Scottsdale. What do they say? It's the home of the $30,000 millionaire.
Oh, that was Dallas once upon a time.
Okay. So sit down. Sorry. Dog life.
You're good.
So, it's hard to know, I think. And, you don't need to see someone's books. I think that, there's a lot going on in the world that tells people that they have to put out this vision of success all the time. But like, I really think that the answer is this authentic humanity of like helping others really gets you somewhere, of really digging your elbows in and making it happen. And then we had a speaker that also talked about knowing when to pivot. So that was a really big thing for me too, is I at one point was like, well, I'd like to make more money. And I was essentially trying to expand my company. And then I realized that nobody's ever going to want to work for my company as hard as I do. And actually I have to be okay with that. So if I want to do something else to financially earn more income, it's not going to be to like replicate what I do. And the only thing I need another therapist for is to make sure that my patients are covered if I can't work. That's another thing, right? Like you don't have somebody to catch you if you're a solopreneur.
Right.
You're the work. You do everything. And then as you've created a little bit of, space for yourself financially, then you're kind of reinvesting it into the new thing that's going to help you create a little bit more space. And, some people work with the intention to grow something to sell it. You have to know your outcome. So are you scaling to sell? Are you creating a passion project? That's my thing. I love passion projects. The business group is absolutely that. Like, I don't make money doing it. It's just helpful for me to feel like I've contributed to businesses that really, I mean, most of them come in without an absolute clue.
Yeah.
Without a clue. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You can totally be lost. I don't care if you're 55 or 25. You can start a business and not know anything. And that's not something that you should be ashamed of. You have to be able to find resources and say, I don't know, but I'm going to build a skill set for myself. I'm going to do the work. And I really believe in hard work. I really believe in, a more positive attitude. I believe in making something out of absolutely nothing. We can really do it with almost anything. I can't think of a single thing in my life that has not come about because of that belief.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the immersive experience that you've created in Scottsdale Living and Scottsdale Top Docs, in that whether it's, year 5 or day 1, your only obligation is to play full out. And if you're sitting in that room, you're doing your 30-second commercial, whether you have a fucking tagline or a clue or not. You know what I mean? And it's such an eye-opening experience, myself included. You know what I mean? Like, I consider myself a relatively seasoned speaker, and still, like, I'm like, man, you got some people in there like Jazzy that just crushes it every single time. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go behind her. And but you're required to get the rep.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's a learning opportunity. And I actually do this with my patients, and I do it with the business owners as well. Often I'll record them.
Yeah.
And then send them a video of themselves, especially people that feel like they don't do a good job. And then the next time that they come in, you see their improvement. I've actually definitely gone through individual sessions with people and talked to them about why their commercial could hit better.
Yeah.
Like, we're not here to repeat some things and just get your business out. I really need to know what makes you special. One of my patients says, what is your differentiator? What's your differentiator? If you come in and just do some exercises with someone, is that a differentiator?
No.
If you tap into the fact that they literally need to be able to communicate better, and they communicate better if their posture is better. And so they stand up in front of a room, patient or business owner, and you literally tell them to just put their shoulders back and be in command. And they do better because of 10 other things that just fell into place, including their confidence just went up. Put something on that makes you feel confident. Put it on. Put it on. Wear it. Wear it with pride. Wear it with your personality on it. Wear it with your own authenticity, humor, or absolute, there are people that have what is it? Like that morbid sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. That dark humor.
Yeah. Like, if it's you, let it shine. Like, let it all play out. Let your freak flag fly.
That's it. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
No, it's so true. And like I said, I am eternally grateful for what you created. I think that you are a shining example for everybody in that room in terms of not only what is possible, but also how to carry yourself and be your brand. There's no question of the impact that you're having for your patients and all the business owners that are in these groups that you founded. So if nobody has told you today, let me be the first, your impact is felt and it is appreciated. And on behalf of everybody that you have impacted, we are grateful.
Thank you so much. That is absolutely heartwarming. And I really, really appreciate it, Michael. Thank you. Yeah. It's amazing to know that, we've been doing this for 4 years. The community, the main community is over 70,000 community members now. We try to make sure that we're not here to tell you which way to do anything. We're just here to provide resources and help the community help itself in a positive, neighborly way. And if we can do that as business owners, like, you can have real reach. This is not a little thing. You are impactful. Like, as an individual, your business can reach. You have passion, you have drive. You want these things. So let's turn it into something that will produce for you so that you can get what you need to get so that you can be successful and be whole, be a human, I love it. So thank you so much for that reminder. It really feels good. Thank you.
100%. Where can everybody get a hold of you, learn from you, glean from your ambiance? Where does Dr. Amber Enright, the therapy doctor, reside? Where do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so obviously you can follow me. I actually really do enjoy Facebook. Some people think it's old technology. I think it's personal technology where your history is kind of in there. So Facebook is great for me. Scottsdale Living Business Edition. We have Scottsdale Living Women's Edition. Those are my founded groups. And then also aztherapydoc.com. If you're interested in personalized physical therapy service, you have a family member who needs personalized care in the privacy of their own home, I would be the one to call. If I cannot help you, I will find someone who can. And I'm really happy to make sure that the community is also supported in this way. I just found someone in Tolleson, and my boyfriend drove out to get a stander for a patient in Fountain Hills. Like, we're here to get things done and to help each other. And I really believe that this message is something we can do in a meaningful way and not just pretend we're doing it. So we're here for it. Amber Enright, the therapy doctor, moving you with heart.
Love it. Love it. I'm so grateful for you, girl. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. For everybody out there listening, remember, if you want to be the fittest leader, it takes integrity, courage, and ownership. And we're here to support that. Head over to nextlevelpfc.com. Join us in the Alignment Village. And I look forward to helping you create alignment first and progress always.